All right, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, talking to you about Marine Corps fitness. So whether you are looking to join and prepping for officer candidate school or boot camp, or are already in and are looking to better your PFT, your CFT, or your ability to conduct movements under load, this video is going to talk through some training tips that I practice that have helped me become the most physically fit that I can be in preparation for my day-to-day life as a United States Marine. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so I think there are three focus areas for our training. One being the Marine Corps physical fitness tests, that's the PFT and the CFT. The second being movements under load, so that is ruck marching and just hiking in general. And then the third one is injury prevention, so keeping ourselves off of the light duty list. All right, now before I get into the training focus areas, one thing I want to preface this video with is by saying that muscular endurance is paramount in the Marine Corps across the board, across all those training areas. Okay, so what that means for you is that we need to figure out how to train our body and train our muscles for endurance and honestly a little less strength. Okay, so I think there's two big and easy ways to get that done. All right, the first one is prioritizing cardio. All right, cardio needs to happen 5 to 6 days a week, whether that's running, biking, or swimming. You need to figure out how to incorporate that into your training and have the discipline to stick with that consistently, because I promise you, just a 1 to 2 mile run each day is going to significantly better you in the realm of your fitness as a Marine. Now, the second thing is going to be when we're in the gym, going higher with our rep schemes and a little bit lower with the weights, honing in on, again, training those muscles to conduct prolonged actions, vice short bursts, or just feats of general strength, okay? Because nowhere in the Marine Corps is really the number that you can squat or deadlift going to matter. Doesn't mean the strength's not important, but if you look at any of the physical fitness tests alone or rucking, you will see that primarily the big slugs don't do as well as some of these smaller guys that have the functional strength to actually utilize the muscle that they have built and that they are training to better. Okay, so those are my two things to kick it off. Now with that, let's talk about the PFT and the CFT. What is the PFT and CFT? All right, so the PFT is the Marine Corps physical fitness test. It is comprised of a max set of pull-ups, your maximum plank time, and a max 3-mile run, all conducted in a PT uniform. The second one, the CFT, is the combat fitness test, and that is comprised of an 800-meter sprint, maximum set of ammo can presses, which is 30 to 35 pounds essentially of just pushing an ammo can up above your head. And then lastly, a maneuver under fire course. That one's a little bit tougher to explain. You can look up videos on that if you want to see specifically what they are if you don't already know. That whole thing is conducted with in boots and utes. I train for those two physical fitness tests. So again, like I said, muscular endurance is key, but if we're getting more into the weeds, specifically how to improve things, we first talk about pull-ups and ammo can presses, because those are both upper body oriented movements. All right, so I'm going to recommend two programs here. All right, the first program is called the Armstrong Pullup program. It was created by a Major Armstrong. Generally what it is it starts off with like push-ups, I think, max set of push-ups each morning, followed by different variations of pull-up workouts each day. A lot of people have had great success with it. So for those of you guys out there that are saying you're kind of plateauing in your ability to conduct your max set of pull-ups, like you've hit a number, you can't get better, I would definitely recommend checking out that program. You can just look it up online. That'll come up. The second one is one that I came across randomly, but it's called the 50 Pullup program. It's 50pullups.com. If you look at that, you can do a max set of pull-ups, and then there's like a link for each one of the different programs based on your max. It's not the same approach. It's a little less volume, but personally, that helped me improve my pull-ups significantly when the Armstrong pull-up program was kind of just wearing me out a little bit. So to each their own on that. But either way, those are two programs that I think will greatly assist in your ability to better your pull-ups and probably better your ammo can presses as well. Okay, so secondly, we talk about our plank, improving our plank time. Now, it seems like most Marines are not having a problem with this. Most are maxing this out. But if you are not somebody who can do the maximum 3-minute, 45-second plank, I would recommend doing one ab circuit per day. It's easy enough to just look up one online on YouTube, find one that's 10 minutes, do that every single day, or at minimum like 5 to 6 times a week, and you will see your plank time increase. Secondly, what you can do specifically is set a goal, a daily goal of a number of minutes or a time that you want to plank. So let's say you want to hit just 5 minutes of planks per day. Okay, that can be broken however you want to do it, but 5 to 10 minutes of planks per day. I've also found that that's helped me significantly increase my max plank time. Then lastly, for our 3-mile run and for the maneuver under fire course, my recommendation would be, no surprise here, to run, okay? Now with that, I'm not just gonna be as broad stroke as saying, just get out there and run. My recommendation and a general progression that I would recommend to beginners would be to start off by doing just like 1 to 2 miles per day. Don't worry about the pace at all. Just get out there, get some miles on the feet. Do that for 1 to 2, maybe 3 weeks if you need. At that point, I would recommend going online and looking up a program. All right, so one resource that I recommend would be runnersworld.com. You can look up the time that you're shooting for. So for those of you guys out there that want to get a 20-minute 3-mile, because a 5K is around the same time, I would just recommend going to sub 20-minute 5K training plan, and you will find on runnersworld.com or any other online resource, you'll find a plan that you can stick to that's going to incorporate long runs, it's going to incorporate speed workouts, and then it's going to also incorporate rest to make sure that you are maximizing the training. But conduct some type of plan, all right? Because we are failing in the realm of getting better if we don't have any way to track metrics and we don't have any type of progression in mind for our running. You're ultimately going to lose focus, lose the discipline, and then you're not going to get better anyways. So it's ultimately going to be a waste of time. All right, so our next category or training focus area is movement under load, so rucking, okay? And how do we get better at rucking? Most of you guys are probably thinking in your head, dude, you just ruck. You're not wrong, okay? With that though, I'm gonna preface it by saying I see a lot of guys that'll throw massive amounts of weight in their pack and then they'll walk down a hardball road, meaning like a very hard surface, which is gonna be high impact. Their frequency is too much, the weight is too much, maybe the distance is too much. So what we need to do is be smart about our movement under load training. And if we're going to actually get out there and ruck, which I do believe is a great way to progress your ability to conduct movements under load, we need to think about a few different things. All right, the first thing is going to be our progression. Are we starting at a small point and then slowly working our way up, increasing only weight or only distance each time? Okay, so an example for that would be if I'm rucking with 100 pounds and I'm walking 3 miles 1 week, the next week I should not be walking with 110 and walking 4 miles. I need to only increase one aspect of those each week. That's how we provide that progression. That's how we do that progression with rucking. Additionally, we need to identify a surface in which we can do it that's not as high impact as like a road, okay? So whether that's gravel, whether that's a trail, like a dirt path, I recommend this because the impact on the knees and on the legs is just not worth it, especially with the weight that we are putting on our packs. We want to minimize that as much as possible to get the longevity. So those are some critical things I recommend for rucking specifically for ruck training. Now, to add to that, I'm going to say when we are in the gym, there's other ways that we can prep for movements under load for rucking. All right. And some of those are going to go back to what I talked about initially in the video, which are higher rep schemes. So programming in a higher rep scheme day that looks like 15 to 20 plus reps per set of back squats, potentially front squats, as well as like walking lunges. Okay. So a little bit of variation, but if you conduct that, if you do that, you will start to see that your muscles are more accustomed to being pressed for a longer period of time, vice the short bursts that we get out of just like a heavy 3, a heavy 4, a heavy 5. All right. That's not to say that you shouldn't also still be doing heavy squats. It's still okay to have a day in which your focus is more so on the lower rep scheme. Just adding that higher rep scheme day is going to help a lot in our training because again, it's going to focus more so on that muscular endurance. And our final topic is injury prevention. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up is because it is way too common for me to see Marines that are on light duty that are getting hurt, or Marines that have been in for a while that have these like chronic issues, whether it's back issues, leg issues, knee issues, insert injury. It's so prominent and consistent in the Marine Corps. It's really easy to nip it in the bud if you just do a few small things each and every day. All right. So what that starts off with is going to be stretching. Okay. And I know that that's a broad stroke thing. I'm saying it because most of you probably don't do it. Okay. So adding a stretch routine in the morning as well as at night. So right when you wake up and right before you go to bed is going to make a world of difference. If you don't believe me, do it for a week. If it doesn't work, you can come back, comment on this video that I'm an idiot. But I promise you that it is going to make you feel better. And so I recommend that you. For a stretch routine, you can do the same thing. You can look up one online. No more than 5 to 10 minutes, but a full body stretch routine. All right. That allows each one of your muscles to be stretched in the morning. And then again, like I said, before you go to bed, if you have the time, you can do it before your workout and after your workout. But that injury prevention, step one is an adequate stretch routine that is frequent and constant. All right. The next thing is going to be recovery. Okay. So recovery means that we're not lifting every day and that we are probably not running every day. All right. We need to identify strategic rest days. And in those rest days, we need to conduct certain actions. So one of the first that I'm going to recommend, if you have access to it, would be to try to get in an ice bath 1 to 2 times a week. Now, I know this is not feasible for everybody. That's okay. The next best thing is just going out and icing certain muscle groups or areas that are starting to like bug you a little bit. So if you roll an ankle or tweak an ankle, something like that, get some ice on it. Be proactive about that. The second part I would recommend, or second thing I'd recommend, would be a massage gun. Same thing. You don't need to go out and buy some like big, huge, expensive one. Some gyms now in the Marine Corps even like have them with like the physical trainers. But also, if you have like a buddy who has one, borrow one of those, use that. At minimum, I know that rollers are accessible in pretty much every Marine Corps installation gym. So get a roller and do the rolling. It will pay great dividends for you down the line. And ultimately, like broad stroke again, this injury prevention focus is going to help you both now staying off that light duty list, not being a light duty guy, but also whenever you leave the Marine Corps or as you progress in your career in the Marine Corps. Because again, I see far too often guys that have these like chronic issues that really could have been prevented. It's much harder to fix them once they have them. But if we're actually doing the injury prevention and actually prioritizing that, you are going to stay healthy, you're going to feel better, and also you're going to perform better. All right. And then you're not going to have those issues down the line as you continue your career. And like I said, eventually push on to the next thing. And then my final note would be if you have pain, you need to figure out how to fix it. Okay. I know that's like the classic cliche thing to say in the Marine Corps is like figure it out. But what far too often happens as well is that guys will have pain. They say nothing about it and it just continues to get worse, or they make no effort to improve it. And that's problematic. I myself had a shoulder issue that's been going on for like a year. I didn't do anything about it. I didn't think anything of it, but it just made my workouts worse. It made it harder for me to do overhead movements. Simply by going on like YouTube, finding a video as to how to do like banded stretches, it made a world of difference. And now in like only a week's time with some stretching and band exercises, it feels great. So like I said, understand that like small things can truly make a difference long term. All right, so those are my training tips to be the most physically fit you can be, training specifically for the Marine Corps. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and please subscribe to my channel if you like this content and want to hear more. As always, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.